I call to order the August 6th meeting of the City of West Sacramento Parks, Recreation, and Intergenerational Services Commission. We will begin with the land acknowledgement. John?
We would like to acknowledge that the land on which we live, work, learn, and commune is the original homelands of the indigenous people of West Sacramento, who have stewarded this land throughout the generations. We acknowledge and we thank the original inhabitants who have occupied, maintained, and secured this place and who still exist on this land. We respect and celebrate the many diverse indigenous peoples still connected to this land on which we gather. Thank you.
Thank you, John. We will continue with the pledge. David?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice.
Thank you. Now roll call.
Okay. Chair Rosas. Vice Chair Galvan.
Here.
Commissioner Ahmad. Commissioner Jans.
Present.
Commissioner Archuleta.
Here.
Commissioner Ramsey. Here. Commissioner Schatzel.
Here.
Alternate Member Gonzalez.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Okay, now we have the General Administrative Function, Part 1, presentations by the public on matters not on the agenda within the jurisdiction of the Commission. And we have two. First one, Alexander.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Alexander Hampton. I'm with the North Cal Carpenters out of Local 46, and I am here to speak about the hard-working men and women in the construction. There's a growing problem in this area to where there's a lot of carpenters who are not getting paid fair wage. I'm a former carpenter. I'm not in the field anymore, but I'm of course, a field rep, but I feel that if you're doing the same work as I am, you should be able to get paid your health care and a decent wage. I think everybody could agree with that. One of the things that we need to help eliminate that problem is to make sure we implement that there's health care, apprenticeship programs, local hire, compliance, and prevailing wage on all projects. I wish it could be like that, but that's what I'm pushing, and that's what the carpenters push. Another thing that we need to really focus on is everybody coming together and focusing on the work. Because they're the ones who's building the projects. They're the ones who are sweating in the heat. They're the ones who are putting these hard works in these buildings like this together, and we just need to look out for them. And that's my main message for tonight. And you guys have a great evening. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next we have Hossein.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Hossein Adalati. I'm a coach with West Sac Soccer Club. I just came out to invite you all to our annual kickathon. We have an annual kickathon fundraiser every year. Last year, I think the city waived our permit fees, and we had a great event. We, I think, raised over $10,000, and this year we're looking to exceed that. So it's to, again, fund West Sac Soccer Club's competitive soccer program. It'll be at Summerfield Park from 11 to 2 on Saturday. So just wanted to invite you all. I think some of the members on the city council have already donated money and contributed to some teams. We would love to see you out, not necessarily to contribute to any, but it's just going to be fun. You can dunk me in a dunk tank. There'll be raffles. There'll be fun games. So hope to see you there. Thank you.
What time was it again?
11 a.m.
Thank you. Next, we will move on to presentations. Recreation Center Summer Internship Presentation.
Come on up, you two. This year, hi, my name is Liz Hughes. I'm a recreation supervisor at the Recreation Center. I had the privilege of helping oversee our interns for the summer. So this year, the Rec Center had the pleasure of hosting 2 interns, one with the home run internship. So that's usually meant for high school students. And then we actually had one who needed to do his Sac State recreation park and tourism major administration, sorry, his internship, and he did his hours with us this summer as well. So I'm going to let them kind of introduce themselves and then tell you kind of how they spent their summer. You guys, and
Sorry.
Hi, I'm Lauren Lee. I'm currently a rising senior at River City High School, and I'm with the West Sac Home Run program. I just finished my internship last week, I believe, and I'll be moving to work part-time at the Rec Center.
And hi everyone, my name is Oscar, and I'm an intern through the Sac State Recreation Parks Tourism Administration, RPTA, department. And I am also, after my internship, I am planning on working for the city of West Sacramento in the park, in the rec center, my bad, in the rec room, part-time stuff. And then for an overview, we're going to talk about us, and then the programs and events, our intern projects, and the process of our intern projects, our experiences, and our final thoughts.
So a little about me. I already told some stuff, but I'm graduating June of next year, and currently I'm the president of a journalism club called Radar Reporters. I'm also in API and Health Occupation Students of America. In the future, I want to be a pediatric neurologist.
And then about me, I am currently in my last semester at Sac State, and I will earn my bachelor's in August of 2024, more specifically August 16, so very soon. And I majored in recreation administration with an emphasis in nonprofit and community engagement. And I also earned certificates through Sac State, which were event planning and for nonprofit administration. And again, I am an intern through the RPTA department at Sac State.
So during my summer internship, I was able to work in various departments, such as the front desk with customer service, childcare, and clubhouse rec, which is more of a structured time for young kids. And also at Sidegate, which is basically front desk, but for the pool entrance. Also, I believe a couple weeks ago, I was able to take over the City of West Sac's Instagram for the intern takeover. So I just got to document a little bit of my day and what I did throughout my summer. I documented like me updating waivers, me at Sidegate, promoting my project, which I'll be talking about in a little bit, which was the open house. And it was a great experience. I got to learn more about what I'm passionate about, which was pediatrics. And I also got to learn more about the skills I needed help in and also the ones I was more confident in.
And for the programs and events that I attended and participated during my internship, one of them was the Juneteenth celebration, in which I worked with various recreation coordinators and staff. And I was at a booth to promote community involvement and participation through the flyers and arts and crafts that we provided for our community. And similar to the Juneteenth celebration for Rhythm on the River, I assisted in the preparation for the events. And I also engaged with the West Sacramento community through the games and activities that we had at the booth, allowing me to get to know the community more better. And then I also assisted at skate camp, in which I supervised and engaged children and young adults while enhancing their skateboarding skills and promoting active play, especially now in the summer. And I also assisted in the Spark program and the front desk and the rec room, and yeah.
So for our experience at the front desk, I learned a lot about helping other people and thinking more on the spot. It helped me problem solve a lot and learn how to ask people for help. I feel like it's intimidating being like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, oh, like I'm a bit clueless. It's like hard to get over that barrier of being like, hey, like, can I have someone help me with this? And it helped me learn how to collaborate with my coworkers and get to know them better. It definitely broke a barrier of me being shy and trying to be like, oh, I think I'll just like let this problem slide. But it definitely taught me more about my responsibilities and my management.
And when I worked at the front desk, I had the ability to help and interact with various customers while enhancing my organizational and community skills that I can take with me outside of working at the front desk.
Recently, on July 18th, it was the Parks Proclamation, and I got to learn more about how Parks and Recreation departments help our community and how like interacted and engaged we are with people within West Sac. I never realized how much of an impact it made until I just got to see it in real life, have Martha Guerrero speak and give the speech, and seeing all the residents within that community just come out and support. It was great to see.
And for the Parks Make Life Better proclamation, I had the opportunity to celebrate with other parks and recreation staff during the Parks Make Life Better month. And I also had the opportunity to hear the proclamation presented by the mayor of West Sacramento, which was to enhance the various parks within West Sacramento by, I believe, creating various water fountains.
This summer, we also got to work at various youth programs like Nerf Night and Parents Night Out. It was really fun coordinating with our supervisors, Claudia and Liz, as well as my coworker, Oscar and Haas, about what activities the kids would enjoy and fun games that they would play during Nerf Night. It was really fun knowing all the parents enjoy their kids having like time out of the house with other people their age and also just being active.
And for the youth programs, the Nerf Battle Night and Parents Night Out, we all had the opportunity to contribute equally in creating various games and activities for children while promoting, of course, recreation and leisure.
While coordinating my intern project, which was the open house, I learned more about my time management, how it was to plan weeks out, and what materials I needed that coordinated with my attendance and demographic I would have. It was really gratifying the day of seeing all the parents and families that would show up and just enjoying the activities I had. We had rock climbing, slime making, friendship bracelets, and face painting. It was just like a great experience seeing all my coworkers come together and help me with my project and just seeing our community enjoy it in front of me. It was just an amazing experience.
And for my experience coordinating, so I had to coordinate two different projects. The first one being Family Game Fest. And in Family Game Fest, through coordinating it and planning it, I was able to see growth within our community through the events that we all coordinated. And for the rec after school program, which was my second final project that I had to create. It gave young adults an outlet in where they can explore their interests and develop friendships with others through an after school program.
So my intern project was on July 18th, the same day as the proclamation, and we also had Mario Kart, Smash Bros. Competition, a mini version of basketball, but a giant version of Connect 4. And my supervisor, Claudia, she helped with making the baskets, and I got to go with her to decide what prizes would be fun for kids around, I'd say, 7 to like 10. During it, I helped run the slime booth, which you see over there, and it was really fun. All the kids got to do hands-on stuff, customize things they'd like with their favorite colors, and just fun charms. Even the parents came and got their hands messy. It was just really fun to see everyone having a good time and seeing people that I knew, my coworkers, just enjoying the experience, and it just felt like a great environment to be in. The purpose of my project was to introduce programs for post-summer retention. During the summer, we get a lot more people coming in, especially for the pool, and it's hot. Everyone's out of school. It was great to see everyone enjoying it. I know parents, they're busy throughout the year, but they don't get time really to hang out with their kids, but it just allowed them for new programs that they could drop their kid in, like Parents' Night Out, and just connect with other people, like seeing like family friends and like, oh, like you come here too, like maybe I should get a membership, and like have everyone experience our different programs, such as like the rec room, rock wall. We have a bunch of stuff. It was just great to see.
And for my intern project, it was called the Family Game Fest, and the intern project, the event, it's still upcoming, as it is going to be on August 10th, this Saturday from 5 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. And what's included is rock climbing, free movie and popcorn, light refreshments, an esport tournament, which is Mario Kart and Super Smash Bros., and arts and craft, being the glitter sensory bottles and gift baskets and prizes. And for the purpose of this event is basically to bring families within the West Sacramento community together while promoting the importance of recreation and leisure and community enrichment through the various games and activities and crafts that we will provide for families. And it would also allow families to interact with others and create connections through this event. And it overall just promotes community engagement, as this event would allow various West Sacramento families to be together. And for my second final project, this one was through Sac State, as like I said before, I am an intern through Sac State, but it's like a internship class, and I had it to have a final. So in a way, this is like my final for my class. So then it was to create the 2024 to 2025 rec after school program, which is starting September 3rd, and the schedule being Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 3:45 p.m. to 5 p.m. And what's included is rock climbing, field trips, snacks, and video game consoles, arts and crafts, and board games and Legos. And the purpose of this program was to allow young adults to interact with each other regardless of their ages, as this after-school program is from 8th graders all the way up to 12th graders who are seniors in high school. And it also provides an opportunity for young adults to have a space in where they can develop skills and be creative and increase their social connections outside of the school setting. And overall, this after-school program is to promote leisure and engagement.
So for the process of my internship, I started planning 3 weeks out. I first started with brainstorming activities that people of all ages could do. If they didn't want to hang out with other people, they could do small crafts by themselves. I also figured out how many people usually come to this event and the age that we have. I finalized all of the activities and the attendance materials I needed with my supervisor. I began posting and designing social media and physical flyers 2 weeks out. I did that through Canva, and then we had that posted through physical flyers that we handed out at the front desk, and then we had stuff on our digital poster or corkboard. Uh, During my intern takeover, I also got the chance to promote the event, which I had the help of with Oscar, actually. He recorded some of my videos, which was really amazing. I also started buying materials 1 week out. So we went to different stores like Target and Walmart and just picked up prizes and fun crafts that we thought people would like. And we just kept a spreadsheet of everything we needed. And then the day before, we bought refreshments just so it'd be nice and fresh for when we began preparing it the day of. And it definitely taught me about how to manage my time, look at every aspect that I needed, and to be prepared for problems that I would come up with. The day of, it definitely did feel a bit rushed, but because I planned weeks ahead, I knew what I was doing, and I definitely had a backup plan for if one thing fell apart, I had another thing to solve it.
And the process of my intern project was I started researching arts and crafts for the event and the required materials 5 weeks out. Of course, the arts and craft, I kind of wanted it to align with recreation and leisure, as well as, again, community engagement, having all of the kids be together. And I began creating flyers to promote the event 4 weeks out. Again, I did it through Canva. And I began promoting the event via social media, that being Instagram and Facebook and in person. And I researched light refreshments that provide both a vegetarian option and meat options for the individuals and families attending the event. And I created an Excel spreadsheet with all of the required materials for the event to have an easy access to. As being the event is this Saturday, having that spreadsheet would allow us to view it in case we wanted to double check or make sure of something. And for the creating the rec after school program for the 2024 to 2025, my second intern project, I first began by creating the rec after school program calendar, in which it included creating like a weekly schedule of the daily activities the participants would do. An example of that being on Monday, they would do arts and crafts, and on Tuesdays they would do video games and board games. And on Thursdays, they would do a rock wall game, kind of mixing it up in where the participants would be doing the same thing every day. And I began creating flyers and brochures to promote the event. And this program, it is starting on September 3rd, so more closer to that date. I am going to start to promote the event via social media, that being Instagram and Facebook, and as well as in person, printing out flyers and brochures and placing them around the facility and where individuals can grab them. And I researched and planned field trips and group outings that would allow with the participants' interest.
For my final thoughts on my summer internship, I thought these past couple weeks have been a great experience. I loved it so much. I actually am working here after my internship has ended. It's been such a good environment to work in. Everyone's so supportive, and this is actually my first job because last summer I wasn't old enough, and I just met amazing people. My supervisors, they've been here along the way to letting me know everything I needed, and I never felt like I never had someone to support me. I always felt like there was someone there. Even when someone's like on vacation or I'm struggling a little bit, there's someone to keep me afloat. I had weekly trainings every Monday, and that was with Jackie and DeMar along with Jeff Miller. They're great mentors, and I learned more about what I need to be prepared with within the workforce, along with people within the program that are around my age. We definitely got to learn from each other based on our experiences and know that, oh, like I ran into this problem, like you should learn how to be prepared with it too. And we definitely got to learn more about what we needed, like interviews and, oh, like I'm stressed about this. How's there a way to relieve that problem? We had training on all of that. And then because I worked so many different departments, I never felt like I was just isolated into one part. Our whole facility and everyone that worked there, whether it was aquatics, sports camp, front desk, we all felt like one big family, and that was just great to be a part of.
And my final thoughts for my internship was I feel as though I've gained a lot through my internship, being that after my internship is over, I would earn my bachelor's degree. And being that my internship was within the Parks and Recreation field, and again, that is what I studied in at Sac State, I feel as though that I gained various valuable skills that I can take with me outside of my internship. And overall, this internship allowed me to expand my knowledge within this field as I was in various departments within the city. Of course, the rec center and the city hall, as well as attending various events that are run by both the city of West Sacramento. And I had great supervisors, Liz, Brandy, Claudia, to support me and be there for me when I needed help. And I had great staff as well, full-time and part-time staff, as well as the other intern, Lauren, to assist me when needed. And overall, I developed a closer connection within the West Sacramento community, and I gained various skills that I can take with me in my future career within this field and department. And that is all. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Lauren and Oscar. Great presentation.
Do you guys have any questions for them at all?
Lauren, how many people attended the rec center on your, what was the day called?
Oh, the open house event.
Yeah.
We probably had about close to 75.
75.
And you organized most of that?
Yeah, I organized it, but I also had Oscar and Claudia to help me. And then we had people from various departments, like the rock wall and the front desk. They definitely helped support me in that. I didn't feel overwhelmed. I thought it was 50 just because it just was run so well with all the support I had. So that's great to know.
That's great. Yeah, that's great that you were able to do that for that large a group.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oscar, long before you were born, San Jose State in the Parks and Rec Administration Department, we had to volunteer an entire semester, 40 hours a week, in our internship to get our degree. Did they pay you this year?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can answer. Yeah, Liz is going. You're all right.
Yeah, they
Yeah, all
paid
right.
me.
So they did pay you?
Yes.
All right, good. All right, just checking.
Yes, both of these were paid internships.
This sounds like we're getting them back.
Yes. You're going to hang out with us.
Great, thank you.
All their hard work.
I'll keep it brief. I just wanted to say thank you for your participation in the program, and thank you to the Parks Department for having something like this. I think it's greatly impactful for not only the city, but for the youth in our city. I think it says a lot to have young people there to help along, and it's really encouraging to see you both, and what you presented is really good. So thank you for doing this. Appreciate it.
One thing I'll add to Lauren, as an ex-pediatric ICU nurse, this will really train you to know that, oh, I can stand all those kids yelling and screaming, you know? It's good training.
I love being around them, so
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Thank you.
I'm going to jump back in with roll call again. Alternate member Gonzalez.
What's up? Oh, here.
Commissioner Ahmad.
Present.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next, we will move to consent agenda. Consideration of approval of the minutes of the June 4th, 2024 meetings of the West Sacramento Parks, Parks, Recreation, and Intergenerational Services Commission.
We just need a motion and a second.
Can I get a motion? And a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I missed the meeting, so I should be recorded as. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we will move on to the regular agenda. The final design presentation for the Heritage Oaks Park Master Plan Implementation Project.
Good evening, Commission. I'm Chris Sorosky. I'm the project manager for the City of West Sacramento Park Department. And I'd like to introduce Sarah Crossley. She's with Melton Design Group, and she's been working on the design for this park, and she's going to present where we are on our 80% final drawings.
Hi, everyone. Good to see you again. Thank you, Chris. So, yeah, as he mentioned, last time we met, I believe it was with the Parks and Art Commission, just identifying proposed art locations. And today, as Chris mentioned, we're going to present where we are today in the process. So, just to remind you, the theme here is nature and preservation. It's a beautiful historic oak grove that we're preserving. We're not removing a single tree. We're just adding and enhancing the park. So this was our, oh, it's skipping on its own. So we met with 3 of the tribes in the area. We have Yochadihi Wintu Nation, Shingle Springs, and Wilton Rancheria. It was nice to meet with them, get their feedback. So we really want to focus on celebrating kind of native life and nature. So that's the theme we went with for the park. Lots of active play and wellness. This was the preferred option. So this is the final master plan we took to roll into our construction drawings. We're about 80% with our construction drawings, and we're planning to submit to the city in 2.5 weeks. Here's the CAD drawing. We put some color just so it can pop and we can see where everything is without reading all the little labels. So as you can see, the big green areas, we have lots of turf with some no-mow grass around it. There's a photo on the bottom. It's really just the longer grass, and we're considering putting a wildflower mix in it, just so seasonally it's just a beautiful array of wildflowers, low maintenance. We'll have a lot of bark in our planters with some deer grasses, really water-wise planting, and just focusing the green grass where users would use it for different multi-use sporting events or to surround the spray ground. Just really where it makes sense. We're doing a BMX skills course. It's an all dirt with some enhancement ramps and skate features with a flat skate plaza. In front of it's about a 40 by 40 space. So a nice spot for skaters to skate on. And then a nice bike park for all abilities. We have a lot of use of decomposed granite. So there's a really nice decomposed granite going through the oak woodland. We really wanted to keep a permeable surface. Again, we're preserving that whole area. We really wanted to keep it natural and away from the road on the backside there. We have our kind of central hub area. So we're extending the parking lot, and then we're adding a restroom, pump house with drinking fountain, shower, extra storage where all of our electrical would be as well. So a nice multi-use building there. It'll be a prefab per the grant specifications. In front of that, you can see all the picnic tables. So that's actually about a 2.5-foot elevated platform. When you get to the very top where that circular log and boulder area is, that's about 4.5 feet high, and then it mounds, slopes gently down into the turf areas to the play area and the spray ground area. So we have a nice adventure tower there with a boardwalk, spinner that is ADA compliant as a transfer, swing set with two strap swings and one basket that's inclusive, and then a lot of natural log play. So we really wanted to keep more of the natural elements. So the play areas like the kind of oak woodland play area, very natural, and the spray ground is river way of life themed. So we have this one, the spray ground, a little fast, oops. All right, there's an image of our spray ground. So you see the Thule water sprays. We have a couple sets of those around the creek, which will be a dyed concrete sloth in there. We have the Thule watercraft boat. You can see the bottom. It's made out of GFRC concrete. We are going to remove a panel, though, so it's ADA compliant, and a user can roll into it and use it just like if you were to step over it. We want the user to be able to be in the watercraft. And then there's sprays that come around it, so you actually feel like it's going down the water. A lot of imaginative play there. There's a lot of different sprays, kind of adding to that river feel with boulders. We're also utilizing the metal steel cutouts throughout the site to support theming. So you see the upper right-hand corner. There's a boy and a girl, just example. We did that for our local Boys and Girls Club in Chico. So that was a fun project. And since then, I've just been putting them in all our projects because you can put so much detail and customization in them for the theming without a lot of cost. So we were thinking we would show some native people fishing along the creek there, some coyotes. We have a whole list from the tribes of the animals that they would like to see in the park. So we wanted to implement as much of that as we could, along with interpretive panels throughout the site that we'll be working with the tribes on creating. So the cutouts and the interpretive panels will go together. We also have kind of a native homestead that'll go by the creek, just kind of their natural way of life with the interpretive panel. And then, yeah, surrounded by the turf and the NOMO, it'll be a really fun place to play. In the center, you see the restroom. Above that's the picnic, and then above that, about at that 4.5 feet high in the air when it mounts down, we have our gathering circle with just some natural logs and boulders and music instruments. So we went with the cattail chimes. It's a really nice light sound, and of course all these instruments, you can't play a bad note on them, so I love playing on them instead of at home. I sound great, so those are always fun to have. And then we did a cajon drum circle, a set of 3, where you can just sit on them and bang on them. Again, sounds great. So that was our feature up there. And then here's our woodland play area. So we have a spinner from LSI. You can sit and spin yourself. Someone can spin you. It's a transfer for ADA. And then again, like I was describing with the swings, it'll just be a brown simple frame with the basket swing on one end and then 2 strap swings. And then we have our wise old oak play structure. He's pretty cool. He's a GFRC gunite structure. It'll have a large slide and a smaller slide. It'll have an ADA ramp boardwalk off the back end, which is why another reason we decided to raise the center is because it creates a natural ramp instead of putting metal ramps everywhere. It's working with the natural soil to make it accessible and also more playability. I mean, who doesn't want to run across a boardwalk, you know? So just adding to the playability there and the overall theming. The bottom pictures are showing our decomposed granite plaza space where we have a bosque of trees there. I believe we did the October Glory or Acerebrum, the red ones up front there. And then we put a lot of valley oaks throughout the project. We'll see. I'll run through the planting plan real quick. But that was a nice natural plaza for people to gather. And with doing that, we were able to put the trees without messing with a ton of root berries and concrete and all. And the picture on the bottom is at the Abbey of New Clairvaux. It's a project we did out in Vina, California. And we did a similar treatment where we did the concrete curb there with ADA stalls, and then it goes right into decomposed granite, and it's held up great over the years, and it's just been a great space. So I wanted to add those photos as a great example for that. Again, with the deer and the flicker bird, those would be metal cutouts, just supporting the theming in the area with the natural log clay. There's our prefab restroom. We will be changing up the facade a little bit, but that's generally the structure we'll be looking at putting in. It's really efficient in the size to fit all the pup equipment, the 2 stalls, the drinking fountain, the shower. We didn't color up the planting, but you can see all the trees already existing are grayed out in the oak woodland there in the top left area. And then all of our new trees are darker, and you can see there's a lot of valley oaks, and we did some maples and just kind of weaved it together really nicely with some pops of red in the fall. Our shrubs are very water-wise, just a lot of deer grasses. And then the pollinator garden will have pollinator plants. And then for screening above the bike park area, we used coffeeberry, toyon, and manzanita just to create a nice screening along with mounding for the neighbor at the back there, and then to also just enclose the area. We also have a split rail fence along that bike area, just protection from the road. That's just a blow up of where that center core play area is. We just wanted to show there's a lot of trees. We are going to plant 36-inch box trees that are around the picnic tables just to provide more shade faster. All the other trees will be 15-gallon. There's some photos of the toyon, the coffeeberry, and manzanita that'll be planted along that edge of the skate park. And then, as I mentioned, we're getting ready to submit for our full 80% review about August 21st. And then after that, after we get our comments back, we'll do our 100% and go to bid about October. So we're excited to see it all come together. It's been a great project. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Yes.
Thank you for the presentation. I've been super excited to hear the update. And I want to applaud you. You've all been, the last few years, so thorough about every detail of it. And I could be wrong, but I thought last time you had mentioned that I think the local tribes weren't involved. So I think this is progress. This is amazing that you got the locals to give some feedback, right? Because I think before you had put out some sort of like call, and you got I think Southern California tribes. Is that right?
I think that might be a different project.
Oh, okay, maybe I'm thinking about a different one.
It might be a different one. We've had the 3 we had the initial coordination with, and then we kind of went away and got to work. But we did have pretty good involvement.
Okay,
on this one.
yeah, that's great.
So, yeah.
And so I one thing that came to mind, and this is because you did like a community meeting and had folks come out and give feedback. And so this particular aspect invoked a lot of conversation within my family. It was about the wise old oak.
Yes.
My 5-year-old, at the time he was 4, I think there was 2 options, like it was an owl and a wise old oak. And because he's been asking me, when is a tree going to be coming? Because you had talked about how it was going to have all these play features. But we were talking about it, and I would love to hear your thoughts or the tribal folks' thoughts on this, because as there's so much detail and it's like very specific detail put around intentionally to like the native aspect of this park.
Yeah.
And the wise old oak is actually very Celtic in its origin. And so I was wondering if there's any thought about how to incorporate more of native kind of origin stories, especially when you mentioned that there's certain specific animals that are significant to different cultures. So any initial thoughts from you on that?
Yeah, I'll just say the initial idea of the wise old oak was just celebrating the fact that it was a heritage oak woodland. I guess it wasn't so much the like folk tale of the wise old oak. And then running it by the tribe, they didn't really have a comment about it. So I do hear what you're saying though, is, you know, how can we tie it maybe to more of their history?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think it's a bad idea to put this in front of them and see how it'll fit in, because, you know, nature in general, and then really the face makes it a wise old oak,
Right.
the face. So, I mean, I'm open to talking with them about it. I think that's a good idea.
Thank you. And I think I might had a couple other questions, but oh yeah, you mentioned the instruments, and you have this picture of them. Can you go? I missed a couple of the details. What other instruments are going to be featured? Is it mainly percussion?
Yeah. So there's there's the cajon. Oh, there's the cajon drums where you sit on them, bang on them, and then there's the tulies, which are chimes.
Oh, I see.
So they have the little mallets.
Nice.
And you can walk around them.
And will there be and given again all the intentionality around the different Native aspects, is there a learning component where people can scan a QR code and learn more about which particular tribe this originates from?
Yeah, so that's what we'll be working with the tribes on, are all the interpretive panels. I know Yochadihi Wintu Nation, they already have a bunch of approved panels we can use. So we were going to start there and then talk with all the tribes that were interested in doing the interpretive panels. And we did mention QR code. Yochadihi, they're already on it with the QR codes and all. But I really love that idea too. And another idea we had was a scavenger hunt kind of thing with a QR code, because you can change it up over time. And, you know, we'll have the steel cutout, so that could play into it.
Yeah, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the field, the all-purpose field, we had talked a few meetings ago regarding whether it could be lined for, I think, different sports usage. And I think the question had come about soccer. I think it was at the time when we were talking about like it could be utilized for, I think, U10 youth sports. And is that still the case?
Yeah, it could still fit like one U10.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Commissioner Ahmad. Commissioner Schatzel?
I really very much appreciate the protection of the trees and the adding the trees, because this particular site was chosen to be a park because of the trees a long time ago. So glad you continue keeping that going. Did I hear shower?
You did hear
a restroom facility?
Shower on the outside of the restroom. It runs when the spray ground runs. It's a code. So it won't be active if it's not during spray ground hours.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then was something else. Did the tribes mention anything about horses?
They didn't.
Not at all. Okay.
They didn't mention horse.
All right. Then I have a question for staff. Do we have the resources to maintain this park in your current budget? Sorry, Jason. Sorry.
Hello. Right. So we do currently, and that's an ongoing budgetary project that we're working on for staffing analysis and assessments of projects like this or other renovations or park projects we've had. We just added some staff with the most recent other project, the West Acre Park renovations, in what the added maintenance costs would be, both staff-wise and budgetary-wise. So this is another item that we're working on adding staff for, along with, budgetary resources. So it is on our radar and something we're planning for very much.
But it's not currently in your budget. You're working on it.
It is, and it's a combination of the two. So I feel that this park itself right now is financially sustainable within our budget right now, and even staffing that we have. Obviously, it adds more labor to it with a more developed design to it. But currently, we do. I don't think that in terms of the park and the assets coming online will be a massive strain to where the new design will, go to waste or depreciate that much faster. So a combination of.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Ramsey?
Yeah, last time you were here, I mentioned something about an area for people on the spectrum, and it's especially, it's very important, especially after 2020. I think a lot of parents realize that they have a lot more children on the spectrum than they thought. And I noticed that some of the features that were more inclusive of children were at the noisier section, which I don't think the children on the spectrum might get along better on the wellness path over in that area. So if you could please make an effort to just, if you just have 6 little things that they can be included in, where they can get out real fast if they need to, but not have a lot of noise, and you can find parks that have that stuff. I think there's one in Desto, I believe, a whole park for them, And another, so yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I was just gonna respond to that. So yeah, the pollinator garden in the lower corner, you can see we've maintained one little play element there, so it is a little more passive area there. And then it is all in one area, but there are sensory things in the play area, like under the oak tree, if you wanted like a covered area, there is one under there. There's the accessible slide that will be coming off the boardwalk ramp. And then I don't have it on here, but we will be adding a communication panel for nonverbal, so they can point at photos to communicate with everyone. So there will be some more panel type thing to go along with what we're showing here, which add to the sensory as well. So there's panels for that we're adding in here. And then the basket swing is another one of the sensory without having to be on a strap. And then the spinner as well, but they aren't separate. We didn't want to make necessarily like a separate area. And I get what you're saying about the noise and activity. So it is kind of nice. You have this area, the spray ground, there's the whole nature area within the oak woodland, and then the pollinator garden has a little play element with paths you can circulate. So we did think about that, especially after your comments from last time, and implemented them as we could within the areas we were providing to be inclusive for everybody.
Yeah, the main problem I see with the pollinator is the traffic noise. Most of these people, are very sensitive to sound. I don't know if you can, you see them walking around with headphones, and that's one reason, So I think, if you just add a couple more things to the wellness garden, which is kind of away from traffic, away from everyone else, just to get them started, and then maybe you could get them over to a more populated area in, say, 2 years, 3 years. It takes a while, The other thing is, it seems like you have a perfect opportunity. As I understand it, there's pretty much nothing there now. You have a perfect opportunity to use a no-till plan and I would encourage you to look it up, but bark is one of the least environmentally conducive or water conducive. You know, it doesn't trap water and keep it for a long time. So if you use a no-till method with just straight straw, not hay, over it, you'll find that, you know, look it up online. Most places are going that way now because of the ease of maintenance. If you cover everything with cardboard for 6 months, and then weeds just don't crop up. I got one weed out of my garden this year, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's something to consider. I know you talked about the gravel and the bark. The gravel, I would discourage because of people like me or elderly people just have a hard time on these surfaces that don't make sense
Right.
for anyone over the age of 40, you know, and less sense as you get on up there 70 something. But I feel that the bark is basically, it is not water wise and it is not environmentally correct, because if you look at it, you'll find that when it decays, it forms different substances that are not even, you know, good for the soil.
Thank you. Commissioner Jans?
Thank you, Chair. So first, I'd like to thank the city and the Parks Department for creating not just a park. I've been a big proponent of unique, specific themes and ideas for parks. I think I've said it before, and I guess that's an opportunity to say it again. But as we develop parks, that each park has its own theme and its own style, and that they're unique. So as you go around our city over time, you can go to something that's very unique to that location, and then go to another park that has its own specific design and uniqueness. And that's what makes, I think, a diverse community more diverse, is to have different physical opportunities to present. So thank you for everybody who got all the grant money and all this funding and all the planning and everything that's gone into it. I know you spent a lot of time on it, and I think it's fantastic. As you move toward council in August, there are just a couple of things that maybe you can clarify for me, and they might have the similar question. I know that you talked about the ADA parking being next to like a decomposed granite area, and that it worked well in the past. You even included a picture in here. It was something that caught my attention, that it is in that specific location, right here, and not more central to the sidewalks. And if that's an intended purpose or an intended design, one of the recommendations I would have is to maybe focus a little bit more on the intention behind that. To me, it seems more logical to put it more central to the main vein of the concreted pathways and not directly on the dirt. But I know that you included a picture intentionally, and that you mentioned that it worked well. So maybe if that's the way it's going to stay, then maybe you can hone in on that a little bit more in the presentation to council of just, this is the intention of why it's here and not here. Just an idea or a recommendation. Is there more to add to that?
Yeah, so when we're planning the ADA here, it's because this is going to be like a new plaza. So we felt like it was just direct access right to that plaza for anyone coming to the ADA site. And then the decomposed granite, it will be compacted. So it's, pretty tight. It's almost like you're rolling on concrete. We didn't really feel like it was taking away by not putting it next to a concrete pad, just because we wanted it to be more central to that plaza.
Okay. So yeah, it's a great, so maybe just add that to your presentation so that it's so they know that it's intentionally placed there for that specific reason.
Okay.
Just an idea or a thought.
Yeah, thank you.
And forgive me if my memory is confusing multiple parks, but at one point, was this the park that had the small amphitheater in its original design?
Yes, I didn't
Is that
even
still
mention
present?
it.
Yeah.
It's a great part of this project I
Okay.
didn't mention. I apologize.
Great.
So
I'm glad it's still there.
it's still here. It's an outdoor classroom. You see the existing build. I made them both red, but not our picnic area, but the existing one going this way. Right in front of it is
The
the
SS 101?
It is I
Which one?
believe so. Let me go to the end of the package. But
Oh,
yeah,
it's behind the big one. Or in front.
we still have our outdoor classroom. I was going to go to a section I have to show you. Yeah, kind of hard to see from here, but if you guys have it on your screen there,
We don't.
it's right in front of the existing building. It's not colored on this plan, but we did it right in front of the existing building, and then it ramps down 18 inches to the very bottom, and it's all natural. We have just some seating, some benches there, and again, it all ramps. There's no stairs, and the logs terrace up 6 inches, so it's a really nice, just natural outdoor classroom.
So it does have like a platform to present on, or no?
It's not a raised platform, but it's just a on-grade, decomposed granite pad defined by logs and boulders. So just really natural. The intention was always an outdoor classroom rather than like a big amphitheater.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in a previous design, we were looking at a stage and all these things, but really what the grant was requiring was outdoor classroom. And we felt like it fit the need better here for being next to the demonstration garden. We weren't going to have electricity or amplified sound at all.
Mm-hmm.
So this more of a natural outdoor classroom fit the space well.
So the intention would be maybe for tours or, you know, guided pathways for educational purposes for
Yeah.
groups or students or whomever that might want to be
Mm-hmm.
a little bit more detailed history about the things that they're seeing.
Yeah, just a great gathering area, whether they want to do a kind of demonstration talk or something next to the pollinator garden, or schools come and they talk about the site, or kind of just a nice gathering
Okay.
type of space.
Well, great. I'm glad it's still there.
So is
Yeah, it's still there.
it identified on this diagram?
Yes.
What is the corresponding lettering for, like you
It's,
said, SS 101? Is that it?
I don't think so.
Let me see.
Just
So
I can
it doesn't have a code beside it, but if you looked at either page 4 or 5, it's right beside PX 101. You'll see
It's behind
you'll
the
see
large
the
orange building.
existing kiosk building that's kind of an orange rectangle, and right behind that you'll see kind of a kidney-shaped tan section with logs and stones through it.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, it's behind the big orange building.
By the logs?
Yes, that's the amphitheater or the classroom.
Okay.
But maybe an identifier for the
Yes,
presentation.
So I will.
We
I
did
will
go
throw
over
some-
that with us, the logs, you said, but that also doubles as a platform to do presentations
Yeah.
for learning.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So that's still on there.
So they sit on the logs and around the person who's making the presentation.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's still a really good size without being too big. It's still intimate enough where, you know, it was always just going to be spoken word, nothing amplified.
It's
So
kind of a natural feel with the logs and everything else.
yeah.
And
Yep,
Okay.
exactly. And there's already some great logs there. We just wanted to accent it, and we have some great pictures from the public meeting, just people gathering around the logs. It's kind of a landmark already for the park. So
assuming they're oak
I
logs?
believe so. Yes.
Yeah, there are current ones there that we're trying to repurpose that were from the native grove
idea.
there.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I would recommend identifying, especially since it ties into the grant.
Yes.
Yeah, I would.
I will add some labels to
Okay.
all. Yes, thank you.
And then my last question is a little bit on Commissioner Schatzel's heels of the maintenance of the natural growth areas. Is weed abatement part of the program? Or is it just going to be kind of a wild grow with the trail going through, or?
So there's many different facets for the design of the park in terms of maintenance. We've had some groups reach out to us about volunteer opportunities for the native garden on the bottom left of the diagram on the screen, along with, you know, a host of different areas. So there isn't one set maintenance type or standard, as there's many different plantings and settings for them. But yeah, I mean, whether it's weed abatement or just in general maintenance, there'll be part of our city IPM plan of like how we approach different plantings and settings.
But the intention is to kind of make it somewhat minimal, right? I think you mentioned something about that. Is this design is intended to make maintenance minimal, but not, it can't be non-existent. I understand that, but
Yeah, there's really nothing that's non-existent in terms of maintenance. Even a parking lot takes maintenance. So it's just using native species or drought-tolerant species that require far less in terms of maintenance, water, fertility, pesticides, things like that.
Okay. Well, wonderful. Thank you.
Welcome. And I just forgot to point out the other great element here is I just found the laser. This is great.
That's great.
It's great, right? So there is our outdoor classroom, and I can point to it now. And then as we go out into the oak woodland, this is an existing path. So we're just adding a raised boardwalk with an overlook in there. So it's all accessible. It's a 1 to 12 or a little less steep than that ramp on both sides, and you can get up to the platform in the middle and have a nice look at the oaks around you. So another great feature.
One last thing, and I think we've talked about having some sort of information about how the park was funded. And I know that I'm wondering if it's possible to include just a brief local history as to for citizens, because I know a lot of chatter gets going about design and spending money on big things like this, and it might be helpful to have some sort of placard or an informational something that people can understand. Hey, this was funded through grant funds. This was began in whatever it was 2018, I'm guessing 2019, and just a little bit of facts regarding the park and its design and intention.
The grant requires that we have a logo for the Land and Water on it. So as soon as construction starts, we have a required sign that has to stay in it. Because it's Land and Water funded, it's dedicated as park space in perpetuity. So we have to keep it there forever.
And then it'll include those kind of factual base.
It's on the project. Honestly, is being funded. It's park impact fee and Land and Water money. So I don't know that we would necessarily want to identify park impact fee, but maybe I'm wrong. I know that when we include things like ballot measures and other funding sources, that should be included as part of the project signage.
Excellent, wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I got a
Madam,
question.
if I may.
Go ahead.
Can I pile on to Commissioner Jan's comment? It was a really good point to explain to the public in as much reasonable detail as possible where the money comes from. Reading social media about stuff that goes on in this town, if we don't get the facts out right away, the land water conservation, I know it has to be there forever, but not going to mean a thing. I mean, that's a really good point, that we need to explain to the taxpayer where it came from in a bazillion ways as we can, just so they get it. I think it's a good.
This is a matching fund, right? 3 million, and
Correct.
that helps you to explain. I know that you guys have started this way back to, I think, 2018, and you've had opportunities to meet with the public in the community itself. I think the first time you got 50 people, and second time you got like 20 people with the revised edition of the diagram, so they had an opportunity to see this. Is there a list of communication from the public as to what their input is that you can possibly put out there so people can see that you implemented their ideas into the diagram?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, we do have all of that information from our 2 meetings. So yeah, we can compile that and put it all together in this one presentation.
Okay. And then did anybody have any concerns about where the location of the BMX bike track would be as far as in the vicinity of the homes for concerns about noises or anything like that. And then you said, okay, let's move it from here and put it over here. It looks like it's almost centralized in between, what was that, Village Parkway and Lake Washington, upper right-hand side. Would I be right?
Yeah, it's more on the top end of the park here. There is a neighbor above here that was concerned about the proximity to it. At one time, a section of it was going to be a velo track that's like a asphalt, but it's all going to be dirt now. We are about 150 feet away from the paved area here for the hard wheels on the concrete. And then we're about 70 feet from the neighbor's fence back here to the closest part of the track.
Do you have one of these?
Yes.
So, probably somewhere around here then.
Yeah, so if, let me see here.
Because
So-
that cuts off the rest of the picture. So, I'm just kind of getting an idea where
Right.
it's at. So you say, okay, it's right here. That way there you ain't got to be concerned about the noise level of, the kids playing. It's important that the kids have a place to play and release all that energy. But I know
Right.
it can be a little bit loud, and we're talking about the homes that are out there are quite expensive. So they
Yeah.
might have some concerns.
Mm-hmm.
So you did look into that and make arrangements to make some changes and stuff to help.
Yeah, so with just the dirt track being there, and then we did mounding around it. So they're about 3-foot high mounds with the toyon, the coffee berry, and the manzanita for screening. And that's all on, there's some heritage oaks here. The drip line of the trees are come about right out here. So just outside the drip line, we have some shrubbery, some mounding, and then we're a good distance away from that fence line. We didn't put any paths behind there or anything like that. So we're really keeping everyone this way, just that closest point, they'll be there and gone in 2 seconds when they're biking around.
What about lighting?
Lighting, yes. So lighting, we're lighting the parking lot with the same lightings we have in the existing parking lot. And then we're lighting the concrete path all the way around here. We have 20-foot high light poles to light the whole concrete path.
But not in the bike and skating area?
No.
So at a certain time of night, or I know we have long nights like 9 o'clock, it doesn't get dark then. But on winter nights and things like that, it gets dark a lot sooner. So on those nights that park area is going to be closed off so we don't have injuries or anything like that.
Yeah, it's closed off. There's no lighting. It's the path lighting around is mainly like a sensor light. So they'll be on to a certain time, and then it's kind of like a security sensor.
Okay.
Which we're able to
place to go.
Which we're able to adapt and change the amount of light depending on the season, depending on the needs of the area. So it is able to be modified in terms of the need. And then the rest of the area there would be normal park hours of dawn
my
until
concern
dusk.
is safety for the kids that are, because you have a place like that, they're going to want to go there.
Yeah.
It's going to be a hangout. They're going to want to come out there and play and ride their bikes, ride their skates. And if it's getting dark and there's no lighting, you could have some problems inside there. So just to concern ourselves with that, to make sure that we take precaution.
We would manage it in the same way that we would manage a skate park or something of that sort.
Okay, but there's no fencing, right, around the park itself?
It's an area that we've discussed internally for options of either for maintenance needs or for, as you mentioned, like safety purposes.
Right.
So it's something that we continue to discuss, and it really depends on the design. To be
Yeah, because I
honest.
know we have fencing around the Evergreen skate park side there to prevent, people coming in all night.
Yeah, at West Acre Park there.
Yeah, so just wondering. Thank you. Thank you for answering.
Thank you.
I wanted,
Okay.
sorry, when I spoke earlier, I forgot to congratulate you on all the work you've done. Sorry, it's just a little impulsive I was.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, any final comments? Commissioner? Yep, Commissioner Gonzalez?
I just had a question concerning the bike track. Is it going to be scaled to like a competition length? And if it is, does the city have any intentions on like hosting competitions there or renting it out for that sort of thing? Is that an opportunity that the city will have?
A good question. I don't know that it's like a competition length. It's more just for recreation. Jason can speak to the programming.
Yeah, it's, in terms of size and scale compared to, very large dedicated parks or pump tracks or skate parks of the type, it's much smaller in size to coexist with what the rest of the park's design is, and as we talked about how its impacts are on the community. I will say with this design being, some not permanent but harder elements, it also lends itself to, especially as we able to hopefully build relationships with volunteer groups, to be able to change and make edits or change things throughout time also. So that's something that is very nice with this design, that it allows the public's and the user's interaction to be able to work with my team or us in the future to take feedback to help with that stuff. But that also doesn't mean that either for programming similar to what the rec center hosts for skate camp in the summers, this would lend itself very well to that, I'd imagine. I know Liz actually helps with the skate camp in the summer. So for that or smaller scale things, it would work very well for.
We're going to be getting another skate park over at West Lake too, I think. And that one will probably be bigger and lend itself to maybe doing some competition. See in the future. You guys get some input from youth on the design?
Yeah, you're talking about
The skateboard and the BMX
the
track.
BMX, yeah. We had it available for public comment at both of the community meetings. I don't know that anyone had a ton of comment about it.
We did have far less comment from community interaction with this than what we did with Westacre. We still did have some in terms of there was some local residents that attended some of the community outreach for this that gave some input there. But as I said, this is a little easier too than Westacre with being a full concrete park that we are kind of fixed for forever in that. So.
Thank you.
And I had direct contact with many of the former players of the Westacre Park, skate park, and they were invited personally and they chose not to participate. So we were kind of disappointed with that they weren't more present in the planning project, but they were invited.
Yeah, we reached out to many of the bicycle community.
I seen the participation at that. It was a lot of people that came out, which is good to see. I'd like to see more of the maybe through the rec center get some input from the youth in our neighborhoods about what would you like to see in a skate park? What would you like to see in a BMX trail, And then take some of that and then add it to maybe present it to the designers.
Which is part of the process that we do. So we did reach out to many of the bicycle or skate community for this.
Okay, great. Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I had a couple of questions. So they've been kind of like, as people have been speaking, I'm like, oh, I have to ask this and that. So forgive me if I kind of think about it a minute. You mentioned lighting. Currently, there's lighting around the current play structure. Is that going to remain there, or will that be removed and then kind of reoriented?
You're talking about the 20-foot poles?
Yeah,
like
around the
one,
green play structure.
There's one right here. We were just going to keep that where it's at. It's a good security light.
Okay. I know that I'm bringing that up because then I think it came up at one of the meetings in my conversation with one of the neighbors who lives in that corner house, that they just expressed like, well, if that play structure is gone, will it be there too? And I didn't know. So that answers that question. Mainly because I think even though it's a security feature for them, it just takes away privacy. But then also, I think we brought up in the past that the neighbors all along there don't have, they were told by the city, I believe, that they couldn't have like opaque fencing, like their fencing had to be, and is that going to remain the case? I mean, that might not be a question for you, but might be for the city.
I haven't heard otherwise for the fencing allowance there, but I will say we do have the Toyon, the Coffee Berry, the Manzanita plan there. Not the whole thing to be super dense, but to have select views through. So we are giving them a little more privacy.
I see. Okay.
But I'm not sure about the fence.
Okay.
The fence was likely part of when the original development was done, so I can't say for certain what that was.
Yeah. If we can get some clear answer, because that comes up a lot, and people ask me about it, because I do live in that neighborhood, and so I'm like, I don't know. And I think mainly, again, just they don't mind the lighting because they understand it's a security thing, but they're just like, wait, then our house is totally on display for everybody to see. Okay. Oh, I see. Right, so they can do what they want, yeah. Thank you.
And I can include the response as part of the director's report for next time. That way, I don't know that Chris will actually be here for the
Thank
next
you.
meeting, so I
All
can
right.
incorporate it.
I noticed the frog is on there. Is the frog going to stay?
The frog's going to stay.
Okay.
There wasn't a reason to remove him, and it is a little pollinator garden, and he fit in there nicely.
No, it's great. My kid loves the frog. So, no, yeah, it totally goes with the nature theme. I think you answered this question last time, so I apologize that I didn't retain it. But I think last time I asked about like solar panels or some way to like to power the thing with solar. Is that still being talked about, or?
No, we weren't adding any solar panels to the project.
Is there any kind of like quick reason for why that is, or just because I drove by there today and I'm like, oh, the kiosk has such a nice slant to it. It's like facing the sun. Like, why doesn't it have solar panels?
Yeah, well, my quick answer is that it wasn't a part of the grant, so we didn't have allocated funds for extra solar. And
Got it.
then the electrical we are adding is pretty minimal for the lighting. The pump house would be the biggest energy use that we're adding. So, and the solar, it would just kind of supplement the site anyway.
Right. Okay.
But,
I understand. Like, given the energy output, it's like not necessarily a cost saving. Okay, got it.
Yep.
Around the place, the new playground, is there any talk of, and this might be a question not so much for like taking to council, but like kind of a more specific thing about like putting any kind of fencing smaller to kind of ward off children from running into the anywhere else? Is there any thought about that?
No to the fencing, but we are mounding all the way around it, 2 to 3 feet in the Nomo grass. So when we're looking at that play area, it's kind of sunk in.
Got it.
Then you have the mounding all the way around.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
More kind of
Trying
organic.
to work with the natural nature again.
Yeah. And speaking of mounds, I was told by a neighbor who's been there since the development existed in 2016, I think, that when Treetop was there, well, like as they were getting ready to open up, they created 2 mounds for the zip lining that after they left are still there. And are those going to be taken down, or will they remain?
Those will be taken down, and we're just going to reuse the soil to build up our center area.
Okay, got it. And I think, I don't know how much like the kiosk and who kind of is there really impacts design, but I know before Treetop being there, there was some talk about how do we incorporate them into what we're doing. With them gone, I mean, how much, like this is kind of like, I guess, sort of a more question around creativity. Is there anything that's been majorly lost in terms of not having something in the trees, or how do you feel like you compensate for getting people to kind of look up and appreciate the trees and without the climbing aspect there?
Yeah, that's a good point, that the treetop, it was its own kind of element and use there. And now that it's gone, I was just walking the site before I came here today, and it's honestly just beautiful. You know, you have all the trees where people will make their own trails there, but we're adding the decomposed granite trail around it. We'll have some interpretive panels, and maybe one of them will be like, have you looked up? Or, you know,
Yeah.
like, have you noticed the light patterns if you look up through the canopy? I don't know that taking it out really detracts from the beauty of the heritage oak. If anything, I think it cleans it up more to see more of the trees. So from my perspective, I wouldn't say that it really took anything away or that we need to add anything to compensate for it. And then we are adding that boardwalk through there. So,
Which I love. I think that's such a great idea.
It's kind of a tribute to the treetop, and it gives that inclusive experience of getting up a little higher in the oak.
Yeah, no, I
So-
love that so much.
Yeah.
And then I think my last question was around, now I'm blanking, but I was thinking, you mentioned the trees. Now I'm blanking, but I know was my one last question about, signage. And again, this is something that you probably think about or have already thought about. When my family visited the Bristlecone Pines, one of the things that was really interesting that stuck with my children was noting, I think they mentioned that these trees are like 5,000 years old, and they had a timeline for what was happening in the world corresponding to the trees. That was a really neat way to kind of just put yourself, I was told by a neighbor, I didn't know this, that those trees were like 400 years old. Which was really pretty amazing. And then I ran into a local author last night who was writing about oak trees, and she didn't know that. And so she was like, what? It's in West Sacramento, there's 400-year oak trees that are like in a park.
Yeah.
And so she's going to be coming by to kind of like maybe incorporate some of the artwork into her book. And so, you know, like I thought that was really interesting. So I just encourage you to maybe to talk about that. What they had was they had the rings, and they're like, this is when, I don't know, I think it's very biblical, but like this is when Abraham was alive, corresponding to when this tree was probably a seed, and it just went on from there. So yeah, just something to think about.
Yeah, thank you. I think that'd be a great interpretive panel out there, because we do have an interpretive panel planned to be out in the oak woodland to talk about that. So that'd be a great thing to put in. I know that there's a big old stump there, and you can actually see the ring. So
that'd be
that's
great.
a great
Thank you.
idea.
Thank you.
So you have a nice walking track that goes around those oaks inside there. Might I suggest maybe some benches where people can take a stop, just enjoy the trees, rest a little bit if they're elderly, and maybe even, and I don't see them in here, is the only way I'm saying, is maybe some hydration ports, so where they can stop, fill up a water bottle if they need to, and continue on their trek along the trail, or just sit back and enjoy. I was going to say picnic tables, but I don't know if you want that kind of an impact inside those old oaks. But it'd be a nice place to sit back and just relax and look at, nature.
No, thank you. I do like that idea of adding at least some benches along there. And then right now there's a drinking fountain on that existing building, and then there will be one on our new restroom. We don't currently have any others planned, just for the cost and infrastructure of all that. But
yeah, just a suggestion.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of nice to, instead of having to fill up, or if you did fill up and you drank a lot, I don't know how long that trail is, but if it is lengthy, then, for an elderly, it's quite a walk to get all the way around, I think, for some.
I think if you're taking kind of a slower stroll, you'd be good with your one water bottle, and then you could fill up. But I
And a
do
place
like
to sit
the
everywhere.
idea of a bench at least, so then you
Bench
can
or
go
two,
and
along
rest.
the route.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think they cost. But thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Commission. Thank you, Milton Design Group. That was some very good conversation.
All right. Thank you, guys. Till next time.
All right, we'll go ahead and move on to the General Administration Function Part 2, starting with the Director's Report.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Erin Rivas, and I'm the Parks and Recreation Business Manager, and so I will be giving the Director's Report this evening, and it's long, so I apologize now, but I have all kinds of good stuff to share. Parks has selected a new manager for the Rec Center, Brandy Dion, She has many years of experience working in Parks and Recreation, including youth and teen programming and managing aquatics and sports facilities. She was unable to attend this evening, but please be sure to welcome her during the October PRIS meeting. The city has selected a new concessionaire for the kiosk and Heritage Oaks. I was going to stop you right there. So we have, the business is called, it's called a Meals, and it's going to be a cafe. It's going to have light breakfast and lunch. A Meals, the owners are the grandchildren of Whitey's Jolly Cone in West Sacramento. So it's a family, local family that's opening it. And so we're really excited. We're working on the concessionaire agreement now. And so hopefully, I don't know what the timeline is quite yet, but we're really looking forward to working with them. So I think they're going to be there for 2 years, rent-free. As if we're going to be during construction, so it's going to be kind of rough, but it'll activate the space. It'll be a positive use. We're hoping that the theming will kind of align with the theming of the park, and so it'll embrace the nature and the environment, the natural environment. So we're excited. Wanted to share that Bright Park is currently at 35% design, with an additional stakeholder to probably happen later in September. So we'll keep everybody in the loop on that. We're hoping, so I don't know if I shared that I did an application for ORLIP, which is Land and Water, for $15 million, and they announced that we made it to the next level. So we're competing nationally. And so super excited. It does kind of mess things up a little bit. We're hoping we could potentially go into construction as early as spring 2025. ORLIP, they don't make their announcement till November of 2024. And if we do get it, we can't do any construction till we actually get the written agreement, which could take up to a year, which would be to push it back till November of 2025. But for $15 million, I think we can make it work. So that's the latest and greatest. And we'll keep everybody in the loop for when the next stakeholder meeting is out on the calendar. I'm guessing it's going to be, I think, late September. Let's see. The Southport Levee Recreational Trail is currently at 65% design. We will be hosting a hybrid meeting tomorrow evening at 5. Essentially, the trail it's basically paving the 5.6 miles of Class 1 bike trail along the setback levee. The discussion basically is going to be per a resident's request to have a hybrid meeting to discuss placement of seating. So it's not going to be anything really sophisticated. We are limited in the number of seats we can have based on RD 900's need to have emergency access and turnaround space. So you're welcome to participate. We'll have something here at City Hall at 5, but there'll also be an online option too if you want to participate. But it is not going to be that detailed because it's going to basically be about seating locations along the trail. West Acre is nearly 100% design. The project is expected to go out to bid mid-September. Construction to begin February 2025 with completion around May 2026. We also received $150,000 of the grant funding from the West Sacramento Rotary Club and Sutter Health Park towards the West Acre Park. The money will allow us to keep the labyrinth and the reflexology path. I know Suzanne was really a big supporter of having a labyrinth. So we were going to cut that out due to a lack of funding, but that's going to allow us to have that in the project. And I'm hoping that Heritage Oaks will be at about 100% design by September is what our hope. And then we're hoping, I think construction was supposed to start maybe March 2025 was my guess. And hopefully we'll have it completed by November 2025. That was my guesstimate. Also want to share that West Sac Play donated $30,000 to the Parks Department that went towards the 5 hydration stations. The locations include Ridgeway Island has 1, Alice Norman Playfields has 2, Riverwalk Park has 2, and then the next phase will possibly be using Measure O money or West Sac Play money next year. Will be Meadowdale Park, Ridgeway Lakes will have 2, and then Linden Park will have 1. The Farm to Park event is set for September 7 on a Saturday. I don't know if anyone's planning on attending. You can, if you want to email me, let me know. I'm actually in charge of like seating arrangements, so which is extra fun. But I want to make sure that the commissioners that can attend can sit with council members. So if you are going to go, then if it doesn't let you log in, I know they keep trying to close it because they're afraid of overselling tickets. The secret would be to email them directly and just let them know that you are a commissioner, and they will probably reopen it. I think it's open right now. I think Sherelle just got one for her companion, and it was open today when she tried. So go ahead and try online if you haven't gotten it already, and if not, you can feel free to bug me, and I can make a contact or try emailing West Sac Play directly, and they should be able to get it.
I'd appreciate that. I attend every year, so.
Okay, great. Yes.
I
missed that.
Yeah.
Oh, the West Sac, what, yeah, they're having the Farm to Park, sorry, Farm to Park. Yeah, that's on the 7th, if I skipped that one. But yeah, they're having, the Farm to Park event is being held on the 7th over at Bridgeway Lakes Park. If you are interested in attending, you can buy tickets online with West Sac Play. They're selling tickets. And then, oh, sorry, I'm talking too fast. I'm getting tired. But yeah, if you can get tickets, you want to attend, if you want to let me know, I'm doing seating arrangements, and I can make sure that the commissioners can sit with the city council members.
Aaron,
Yes.
go ahead. Since you're giving a lot of good information, and is it possible, do you have any of that stuff? Can I get a hard copy of what you're conveying to us?
I have I can email you my director's report.
I would love that.
Okay, yep.
Thank you.
And this concludes my report.
Thank you, Erin.
Sorry. Could I ask you, what restaurant were you talking about at the very beginning? Missed that part.
The kiosk is, Emil's is going to move in. There's a cafe, and the young lady and gentleman that are going to be opening that are actually the grandchildren of the owner of Whitey's Jolly Cone, or the former, it's their grandchildren. So it's a local business, and they're expanding and they're going to be present in Heritage Oaks Park.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next, we'll move on to Commissioner Communications. If we can start with Commissioner Schatzel and move this way. Nothing? Okay. Commissioner Ramsey?
Yeah, I have some couple of things to offer from YOLO's Mission on Aging and Adult Services, which I'm also commissioner. And the main thing that I could mention is the telephone carrier of last resource, which AT&T was trying to get out of, landline, essentially. It was quashed, and then they tried to carry it as a rider in a bill, maybe 2797, but one person in our group caught that, and so they quashed it again. But all we're saying is, for anyone that's interested at all in this, is part of our aging and adult services, but it's part of the phone line, and they're trying to get out of landlines, which will in turn mean that they no longer have to maintain cell structures with the old copper wiring either. So I think it's something that everyone should be interested in, especially as fire prone as we are, especially as often as electricity goes out in this town, or as long as we're under PG&E. So, you know, it's something that everybody ought to be interested in, and I know we're working real hard and diligently to prevent AT&T from doing this, but then they put it in as a rider on a bill. So who's to say next month it won't be a rider on another bill? But apparently Jim Bohan on the YOLO Commission is very instrumental in looking through these bills to find out if there's a rider on. The other thing I wanted to offer is that, and I've noticed a lot of this in social media for West Sac, the powered wheelchair repair is in SB 1384, and that's still in it hasn't come about yet. So anyway, just to get those repaired for any disabled people, and just to keep in mind that, you know, that's part of our job is not just parks and recreation, but also the intergenerational services, which were added into this. And by being a commissioner in yellow, I absolutely loved the job. I didn't think I would when I was nominated for it, but I absolutely love going to them and hearing about all the things that they're trying to establish.
Thank you. Commissioner Archuleta? Okay. Commissioner Jans?
Just a couple. I wanted to excuse my absences the last two meetings to the commission and to everyone here. I don't want to be a hypocrite because I know I'm big on attendance. Just the timing of the last two meetings, the April meeting was tied into spring break for the Washington Unified School District. We had a little trip planned for our family. And then the June meeting fell on the exact date and time of River City High School graduation, which my daughter graduated from River City High School, so I was unable to attend the June meeting either, but yeah, thank you. She's headed to Chico State, so I'm proud of that. And I just wanted to let you all know that it was for good reason. The West Little League, although I'm not a part of the board of directors anymore, the West Little League held the All-Star Tournament for, I believe, the juniors division, which is people who are over 12. I think it's 14 and older, 13, something around there. And it was hosted at Bridgeway Lakes Park. And I just wanted to point out the staff and crew that worked diligently to get the Bridgeway Lakes Park field up and going with the shade around the dugouts and together with the West Sac Little League. I know it's a challenge to keep the weeds down in the infield, but the crews were out there mowing the grass and tilling the infield, and it looked fantastic. So I just wanted to point out and recognize the laborers that I know there's a lot of work to be done to get the park up and running. And just also in general, the general condition of the parks. I don't know if people have noticed, and I'm sure the wet winters have helped, but I've just noticed that overall the last couple seasons they've progressively gotten better. They're staying greener longer, and I know they're getting a lot more use between flag football and soccer and a lot of just general use. So again, another recognition of the staff and the program that you guys are running. On a side note, so fishing is one of my passions. It's one of the things that I'm really into. I love it. I think it's great. And as part of the Washington Outboard Club, I heard a presentation from the Department of Fish and Wildlife, who is looking to start to expand their Fishing in the City program. It's a program that is funded from the Department of Fish and Wildlife. All they request is a location, and they'll provide all of the gear, and then, of course, some volunteers, which the Washington Outboard Club here in West Sacramento is willing to provide. But they'll have stations where they'll teach, I think it's 14 and under, maybe 16 and under. So no adults can fish. They can obviously be present, but they're not allowed to fish in the ponds. But they'll teach kids, how to bait a hook, how to tie a hook, the different ways to catch fish. They'll even come out and they'll plant either catfish in the summertime, or they'll plant rainbow trout in the winter. And then they encourage the kids to take the fish home, teach you how to clean it, and then you can take it home and eat it. And it's just a general conservation. And they like to do it within city limits so that people who may not have access to these larger lakes can learn how to fish and participate in the program. So the challenge was finding a location in West Sacramento that would support it. But I just want to bring it up to you guys that I thought that I was under the impression that we at once were planting fish at one of the ponds here, and that went away. Do you happen to know which pond?
Yeah, actually it was the Noon Rotary Club working with, I think, the same agency. It was in the MC10 pond, the square over by Lake Washington. You go down Lake Washington, you got nugget shops on one side and the water on the other.
Okay.
It was there, but it was an ADA issue and they had to terminate.
Okay.
Access to it was really difficult for
Right.
a lot of folks.
Okay.
It was great for a while, but then they had to terminate.
That was my impression. So they'll send out a biologist to come and evaluate the waterway and see if it will sustain fish and meet within their boundaries. But I was hoping I could come back and maybe provide an update, or if there's somebody within the city that maybe you could put me in contact with that might be willing to work with me on seeing if this is even feasible to have within our city. Even just for a one-day event? So, okay. Okay, so it sounds like this is going to be a challenge.
The setting would likely be the biggest challenge
Yeah.
for that. That's not trying to say that it's not possible, but I think that the programming or kind of the interaction of it would be less challenging than.
But then way back, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I think I gave you Brandy Dion's name. I know she's not here, but she was her previous role was youth and teen programming, and so that's a pre-existing programming that if they had that kind of interest, I think they already had the existing programming that maybe by connecting the two, they could find something that might work, because we have like the Barge Canal product program. I mean, we have a couple locations that would be like near the water that might be options. I don't know, but she's now the rec center manager, and she will have somebody backfilling for her. But I don't know if you've spoken with her, but I feel like
not.
Yeah, I think I gave you. I know I texted you her information. I'm like,
Sorry, I haven't spoken with
okay.
We can put you in contact with someone who would be the best.
That'd be great.
And likely the rec center for the programming needs of something like this, and then I can work with whomever that is in terms of trying to identify something that would be a suitable environment for that.
Yeah.
So
It might actually be easier now.
and Liz Hughes is here from the rec center, and I see her kind of perking her head up over there.
Well, we don't have to solve it tonight. I just wanted to communicate that I was working on that in the background, and that I was hoping to have the commission's support, and that when the time comes, I might come and make a presentation on the program. I think it's a fantastic program, and I want to, expand it. So that's it. That's all I have. Thank you.
I like the idea.
Thank you. Commissioner Gonzalez?
I don't have anything there.
Commissioner Ahmad?
Thank you. I wanted to just do a shout out to I think, often overlooked but much appreciated program that the city has, Junior Giants. Just concluded. They finished their season, and I'm very grateful. My kids have participated since 2016, 17, I can't remember, but not every community has a Junior Giants program, and we do, and we're very blessed to have it because it gives people a chance to try a sport that they don't normally, participate in, and it's very inclusive, and there's a lot of dedicated parents and volunteers. I just wanted to give them, and obviously none of them are here, but for the record, I wanted to just, there's parents like my neighbor and friend who's been doing coaching, I think, for the last 6 or 7 years. So I wanted to just, commend the city for having that program, and for the parents and community members who participate in it, because it's all volunteer run. Obviously get funding from the Giants, but it's a great thing, and glad we have it. In addition to that, I wanted to, I know it was probably mentioned before I arrived, but there's the August 10th from 11 to 2 p.m. There's going to be the West Sacramento Soccer Club annual kickathon, its second annual one. Last year they raised $10,000. This year I think it's a little bit formatted a little differently. You might notice in the community there's children who are advocating with like their little specified links, like oh hey, I'm kind of like Jogathon, where like I'm collecting money for they have certain goals. So if you I encourage folks to look in the community for these children who are trying to raise funds for their specific teams, but overall for the entire club. And my 4 kids are in the club. 3 of them are competitive. One is a rec player, and it's a special place in my heart because it's our premier soccer club in our area, but it's also one of the most affordable ones. All of this money that's raised goes to paying referee fees, scholarships, equipment purchases, team expenses, tournament fees, which, oh my God, they add up. Like, as anyone knows, playing baseball or anything else, there's just so many fees associated with it. So I encourage folks to check that out. And there's there's prizes. Forgive me for not having details, but I think last year there was like gift baskets and such and raffles. So it's going to be at Summerfield, I believe. Sorry, but yeah, Summerfield Park, off of Linden. So check it out, and it'll be fun. Thank you so much.
One last thing that I wanted to share. What I've noticed in our parks that I thought was kind of new. I've started seeing more and more families utilizing the parks for a game that it's not usually played over here, but it's called cricket. And in Bright Park, I've been seeing more and more of our families that migrated here that seem to like the game of cricket. And then what surprised me even more is when I was driving down West Capitol and went by Joey Lopes Park, they were actually playing in that little park there too. So have we ever considered maybe putting aside a place where they might be able to double in a baseball field to play cricket too?
So currently Summerfield Park has a cricket pitch on it.
Summerfield?
It's not full regulation size, but we have, I think, 2 different cricket groups that work with the recreation department in reserving the field and programming what their needs are. So there is already a fair sized use of that park specifically, and they work in conjunction with the soccer groups that utilize the park too.
So have we conveyed that out to the public to let them know that maybe even putting some kind of recreational sporting event for that, for families to take part in?
I'd have to
With rec center.
I'd have to defer to the rec center on that one, refer to them in terms of what their programming needs.
That'd be great. Thank you. Appreciate it.
That group belongs to the Bay Area Cricket Organization, a large group. And every Sunday we can hear them cheering. Every time they do so, we can hear.
It's quite a large group. Yeah.
Good. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I would like to ask for a motion to adjourn.
I second.
Thank you. Thank you.